Okay, when you're ready to sail, you need to bring 3 things out with you onto the boating dock. This is the sail attached to the boom, and this rope is the sheet that you just learned about. This is the rudder right here, and this is the tiller, one whole complex. And this is the centerboard, which would go in this side first so as to ease the entrance of the water against the board that way, instead of having it going straight against here. So the very first thing you're going to want to do, you can either lean over and put this in, or you can gently step onto the boat. It's going to be wobbly, so you stabilize yourself by holding onto the mast and put the centerboard in. That's going to help make the boat a little bit more stable while you're setting things up. Then you're going to put in the rudder or the tiller. There's a couple things to know about this. You should not slide the rudder across the top of the boat, because this is what happens. This the surface of the boat has been compromised, which affects the protection of the boat because the rudder has scratched it. So instead, this is a little precarious. You have to hold on to the tiller part, dip the rudder into the water, slide the tiller underneath this cable in the back, and then there's 2 pins on here, and there's 2 holes. I know it's rocket science, but the pins go in the hole. This is up right now. In order to make the boat turn, it has to be pushed down into the water. This is a safety mechanism. This clip just clips onto the corner over here. Do not clip it onto the cable so it's sliding around. So that's the tiller, rudder, and the centerboard. So the next part is the sail. Typically, a sail will be put away correctly. This has been put away incorrectly. You take the sail tie off, which is just like a little bungee strap. And I typically wrap it around one of these posts so that it's right there for later. To make your life easier, I pretty much unroll the sail on the dock, especially so this rope has been wound up in the sail, and ideally it should be taken out of the sail so it doesn't cause problems when you're unwinding it. So we're gonna undo this really quickly. It's good to learn how things should not be done also. So I'm going to take this a little bit and just unroll it, at least to start. So you don't have to unroll it, but especially if you're putting a sail up by yourself, it makes it a little bit easier. And again, this would be prevented, this mess at the end, if the sheet was handled correctly when the sail was being put away. So we'll just take care of that. You're gonna bustle up the sail in your arms and try and take care not to get it wet in the water. And I'm going to kind of move around those mainstay cables. Walk on the boat and set it down. So a couple things I'm looking for. I'm looking to see that the boom is the right side up or down. Those little pieces right here, these little pulleys, need to be on the bottom. And then I'm going to look for the top corner of the sail. The front of the sail has this little, it's actually a braided cord which you can't see, and it has a little hook right, or a hole right here to get hooked onto. So This rope is called the halyard or the halyard. I think technically it's the halyard. Sometimes I call it the halyard at camp because it's used to haul up the sail, so it's a little bit easier for everybody to remember. So this clip goes over that, and there's a pin that goes through the hole, and you push that pin through and twist it, that's important, to lock it into place. Now, in the mast, that's this part here, remember, there's a little groove, and down here there's like a bigger groove for an opening. And I'll try and get on the other side so I'm out of the way. This is a feed and pull motion. So I have my hand on the halyard over here, and I'm just feeding this rope through to get the sail to go up. It should go pretty easily. Sometimes it gets caught up top, and it helps to know which sails work best in which boats, which you'll get to know by experience. Okay, there's a little bit of wind, so I'm going to temporarily hook this here, which I'll show you how to do that later. Before I get too far, because the sail is fluffing a little bit in the wind, I'm going to go back here. And there's a little clip. You could do this beforehand too. And I'm just going to clip this onto this cable so that if the wind starts to blow a lot, it's not going to go into the water. So I'm almost done here. As you get closer, okay, you're going to feed and pull. So I'm running out of rope. There's this little, almost like a cylinder piece right here. That part goes into that widened groove. So it goes, it's a little bit trickier than the rope because it spins around. So it goes in there, and then that gets hauled up the rest of the way. Make sure that the sail is all the way up to the top of the mast. There should be a pretty good height difference between the top of the boat and where the boom is. So now there's a cleat on this side, and I'll show you how to tie this off. You have to go down over the bottom of the cleat. I don't think I can turn this too much. And then you go up, and then you figure eight. So there's one figure eight. I'm going to go again and do another figure eight. Now the last one, you have to cross the rope in front and then flip it over so it locks into place. So I've crossed this piece in front, and now I'm just going to flip it over. So now this part of the rope is underneath the other one. I know that's a little bit tricky, but it's going to be important that you practice that and get that right. The sails are expensive, and if the boat flips over and it's not, and the sail is not attached properly, the sail is going to end up going all the way down to the bottom of the lake. With this extra rope, I usually just wind it up so it's not going to be dragging in the water, and let it just rest right here. This boat is missing another cleat. This pulls the sail down. You can see how this is kind of sliding up like this. This needs to get pulled tight. And I'll put this on the same cleat here, but on another boat there'll be another cleat, and you do that same cleat knot on there. So we'll just tie this off really quick. And again, this piece of rope goes underneath the loop to secure it. And then the sailboat is all set. You can tighten up this sheet so when you're ready to go, you can unhook yourself, or a lifeguard can unhook you. If it's just you sailing, you're going to sit right here so you can manage the sheet, pulling it in and out, and manage the tiller at the same time. So that's how to set up the sailboat.